Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So in this video, I wanted to ask the question, is the 2024 election and the environment a little bit more like 2016, where Donald Trump ended up having his stunning victory, or 2020, which was a total disappointment for numerous reasons? Because I think that that's going to give us the answer to who is actually going to have the leg up on the other candidate down the stretch during this election cycle. And we're going to go through certain metrics and certain kind of, I guess you would say, environmental factors regarding the election, regarding the political climate. And we're going to see, is this election more like 2016 or 2020? Because yes, Trump is up in the polls. That's true. He is the favorite, which was unlike either. But for Trump, you would rather have the environment be a little bit more like 2016 than 2020 in order to get back in the White House. So without further ado, I think it's important to kind of look at the lay of the land. And I think it's important to ask questions that relate to each election cycle. So in 2016, you had two candidates who were seen by the general public as unpopular, and those who disliked both candidates went to Donald Trump. In 2020, you had Donald Trump. He was more popular. He had a job approval rating of around 45, 46 percentage points, but the exit polls showed that those who disliked both candidates went for Biden, and Biden's favorable rating in 2020 was 52 percentage points. Now Biden's approval rating is 41. His personal favorables are much lower. And while Donald Trump's favorable rating is still in the mid-40s, he has not gone down nearly as much as Joe Biden has gone down, which is partially why Donald Trump is leading the polling. So is it like 2016 where you have two candidates that everybody dislikes, or is it where you have two candidates who are less unpopular, which usually leads to higher turnout, etc.? Obviously, 2024, unless something drastically changes in that regard, is more like 2016. Also, are you going to have a high third-party vote share or a low third-party vote share? Because the third-party vote share in the 2020 election was like 2 percentage points, and you could see that here. Biden, Trump, in the popular vote, how much did they exactly combine for? You add it all up, and they combined for 98.1% of the vote. 2016, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, lost the election against Donald Trump, but if you added up their totals, they added up to 93.9% of the vote. So the third-party vote share was over 6%. Now, it is true that if you look at the current polling, about 8 to 9 percentage points do happen to be undecided in the head-to-head, which would entail that you're not going to have a 2016 third-party vote share. But when you go to the five-way race, Donald Trump expands his lead. And on top of that, you have all these third-party candidates in the mix: RFK Jr., Cornel West, Jill Stein. You have more Democrats that are disaffected with Biden now than 2020 because of the Israel-Palestine conflict, among other issues. And what that's going to do is it's going to give Trump a leg up. So overall, with the higher third-party vote share, this election is more like 2016 than 2020. So the third question I'd like to ask is immigration a key issue? Because in 2016, with all of the terror attacks that we saw in this country, and because illegal immigration was out of control, Trump brought the issue to the forefront. He made it front and center. Well, immigration was a key issue. The economy was secondary. Obviously, Trump on the economy, he won those voters, but still, immigration, that was what gave him the true leg up on Hillary Clinton. And it was not an issue at all in 2020, partially because Trump fixed the problem. Biden recreated the problem. The border's worse than it's ever been. Independent voters say immigration is their number one issue in a lot of polls, even above the economy. That is a major, major winning issue for Donald Trump. when it's all said and done. Joe Biden on immigration, he's disapproved of 31 to 64 on the issue, and on independence, it's far worse for him. So overall, in terms of how important the issues are, it's looking more like 2016 compared to 2020. The only exception does happen to be the issue of abortion, because you are in the post-Dobbs v. Jackson / post-Roe environment. So in 2016, and to a lesser extent in 2020, you had a ridiculous amount of Democrat overconfidence. But in 2020, they at least knew that Trump had the resources to compete. Trump could win, but you're seeing it again. This headline here, Democrats are trailing everywhere but at the ballot box. They point to these special elections, but they simultaneously are ignoring special elections where Republicans are vastly overperforming and doing well. And it's like, you talk about how smug they are. Oh, we have all this money. Oh, Trump's in legal trouble. When in reality, the numbers show that Trump is actually improving when his legal issues are talked about. And also, you look at the Democrat funding advantage, it is likely going to decrease because Republicans are getting their act together on it. And on top of it, Biden's been spending. He's still losing in all of the states except for Pennsylvania, where he leads by 0.1% just because of some outlier pollster that's likely to not be the polling result at the end of the day, and also a pollster that's likely going to be inaccurate regardless. So Democrats are overconfident. Donald Trump, he is the favorite in a way, but still you have a ridiculous amount of overconfidence on the left that could come back to bite them. I believe Trump will win as of now, but I'm not going to be overconfident. I'm not going to be complacent. You might have Democrats be complacent because they're just like, oh, look, Trump's not going to win. He's a criminal, whatever. And there's a very good chance that he pulls out a victory. Now, in 2016, Trump ran a national populist campaign with some socially moderate undertones, like abortion was a footnote in the campaign. He was targeting union workers, talking about the need to revive the American dream, going up against the establishment. In 2020, Donald Trump was seen more as an establishment Republican, not fully establishment, but he definitely was seen as more like a traditional Republican in terms of how he governed. Now, Donald Trump has kind of pivoted back to running a national populist campaign. Immigration is front and center, not like tax cuts in the economy or whatever. All that stuff is in there technically, but it's secondary. He's now even talking about how he wants to keep the Affordable Care Act and, protect Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, etc. But, on some issues that are third rail socially, like abortion, he's kind of steering clear from. So overall, that was the campaign Trump ran in 2016. He's running it again in 2024 as well, again, making 2024 more like 2016 than 2020. Also, you had low black turnout in 2016. Donald Trump was able to take the state of Georgia by 5 points because of it. You also saw lower, Hispanic turnout on both sides, which, there's questions about how that would impact the election, but it seems like Hispanic Democrats are getting disaffected more so by the day. So if that is technically more in tune with 2020, it would probably be a good thing for Trump, but it likely will be because the trends will continue. But still, you're looking at this. Georgia, North Carolina, 2020, the margins narrowed in part because of the fact that black turnout was so high. But in the midterms, they kind of bounced back for Republicans because black turnout dipped. Black voters are not that enthused with Joe Biden. 2020, you had the whole BLM thing. And on top of it, you also had, COVID as an issue, and that was kind of driving up turnout overall for everybody as well. You're not going to see that this time. So in that regard, you will see the election be more like 2016 than 2020. Also, 2020, as we know, votes were counted extremely slow, and the early ballots were counted last. And it seems like in the primaries, you're kind of seeing the inverse start to take place. You see election integrity legislation in Georgia, even in Arizona, that is kind of, speeding up the process. So in that regard, I think you're probably going to see higher turnout than 2016. But in terms of how this election is conducted, it's going to feel a little bit faster, more like 2016 than 2020. Also, social media, and censorship that objectively impacted the 2020 election. How much money did we spend on the Russia hoax, the Russia investigation as a country, only to find out that nothing was there? But we have proven election interference with the Twitter files, and it's likely happening at far more social media platforms. But now, Twitter, that is ran by Elon Musk, and there's a lot more free speech now, a lot less censorship. Elon Musk might even be supporting Donald Trump later this year. He's yet to make his announcement, but he's not supporting Biden, which is a net positive. So overall, social media, more like 2016 than 2020. Also, state of the economy. The economy in 2020, Donald Trump had a high approval rating on the issue of the economy. Still, it was not seen as an issue that he was really able to exploit to his advantage, mainly because the COVID economy was not good for anybody and it wasn't his fault. I don't think voters blamed him for it, but they were less likely to vote based on the economy being a key issue. But you look at Biden's approval on the economy, he is underwater. Now, Obama's economy in 2016, the numbers, like the unemployment numbers, jobs numbers, they were technically positive, and you're kind of seeing the same thing now. But when you look within the numbers, it's far worse for Biden now than it was even for Obama in 2016. And Trump had a positive approval rating on the economy. Obama was disapproved of it back in 2012, but it was by, low single digits. It was not enough to swing the election in favor of Mitt Romney. And you're looking at Biden's current approval, it's supposedly getting better, but his approval for the economy is below 40%. It's below his overall approval rating, and it's really bad among independent voters, which are swayable. Partisan Democrats have kind of come home to a certain extent, but you're looking at this and it's like, yeah, the economy being a winning issue for Trump, probably more so now than it was in 2020, making it more like 2016. So that should answer your question. By every metric, this election is going to be more like 2016 than 2020. And we know what happened in 2016, and we know what happened in 2020. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens down the stretch. But Donald Trump, he is the favorite, and you have zero evidence to the contrary. And also, it's important to note that Republican leadership in 2020 was far more incompetent than it was in 2016. And now that you have a new RNC who's actually raking in the money again, well, maybe in that regard, it's going to be more like 2016 than 2020. Also, Trump's campaign staff more competent with their spending and messaging. So that is going to lead the election to be more like 2016 than 2020. So what it comes down to is turnout. We got to get out. We got to vote. And if we do that, then he's going to win. If we don't turn out at high levels, we allow the Dems to, ramp up their turnout machine and they end up beating us, we're going to get 4 more years of Biden. So it's important to donate to Trump if you can, volunteer for Trump if you can, and get out and vote and make sure everybody that you know gets out and votes. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.